Hello everyone. So today I'm just gonna be talking about this one creator called Gorillavrgt GT or something. I don't know his name. Here's his YouTube. Basically, he's a YouTuber that the community has to guess who he is, and about every 1 or 2 days he'll release a hint. People think it's Cool Cyan, and then in this video, hint 6, he uploaded an early hint, and it showed Cool Cyan acting like he was Gorilla, but it isn't Cool Cyan, because later in the video, if you stayed around, it would show hints of the official hint 6, and it says, "I am not Cool Cyan." So this mystery still goes on, and I believe I know completely who it is, 100%, and yeah. Now that I've informed you about who Gorilla is, let me talk about who I think Gorilla is. I honestly completely believe it's Chris Nato. I know I've been talking a lot about him, but he's a really cool guy, and like, I'm not gonna glaze him or meat ride him or anything. I'm just saying that because I do talk about him a lot, and I do talk pretty positive about him. But I do believe it's Chris Nato because I have multiple things about, a lot of people think Chris's and Gorilla's editing style is the same, even though Chris uses CapCut on his main YouTube. Gorilla uses Premiere or something. I did contact Chris, and he has said that he does use Premiere often. He just doesn't, it's not his strong suit, so he usually uses CapCut. For proof, here's the screenshot. So they both have the same editing softwares, but the softwares don't even matter. But it does help out the theory. Another reason is because in these two photos are showing Chris's thumbnails and Gorilla's thumbnails, and to me they look very, very similar to each other, which helps my theory quite a lot. But yeah, I also asked Chris himself if he is Gorilla, and he did not say he was or not. I feel like if he wasn't Gorilla, he would have obviously completely said, yeah, no, I'm not Gorilla, or something like that. But in DMs he said maybe, or something like that, which I feel like if I was Gorilla personally, I wouldn't try. If somebody tried to figure out who I am and then completely asked me if I'm Gorilla, I would have easily just said no to hide my identity. But that's just bringing me to the source of Chris Nato possibly being Gorilla, because I would have definitely just said yeah or no, but he just for some reason said no, and I believe that it helps my theory on that Chris Nato is Gorilla. What else was there? Alright, sorry, but I don't, like, I know of most of the things that I think the reason Chris Nato is Gorilla. So I'm just gonna sit here and I'll talk about some things that I've explained to some of my friends that I know. For example, Mr. Banjo, a trial mod for apes. he wanted to know why I thought Chris Nato was Gorilla, and I basically talked about the stuff that I just talked about. But I also included how he has under 3,000k, which Gorilla has posted that in one of his hints that the content creator he is does not have above 3,000, and that all the other hints that Gorilla has given out, Chris has like completely passed through all of them, which he doesn't have the finger painter, he isn't the color blue, I think, or something, I don't know, and he definitely isn't cool cyan, and he isn't purple and gray or white, I think he said. The next thing is, I'm not fully sure if this is real, it might be bait or something, but, in Chris's, Gorillavrgt GT's identity confirmed video, which was about 9 days ago that he posted, at the end of it, it showed a screenshot that I think glitched out, it basically saying that Chris Nato was Gorilla, in like Discord DMs, where he talks to himself as the Gorilla account and his Chris Nato account. And then Mr. Banjo came up with the idea that Chris wouldn't just be doing this by himself, basically, and someone else is pulling the strings. I'm just gonna basically read out our chats. This is exactly what Mr. Banjo said. I don't think that just Chris would be doing this. I think someone else is pulling the strings, because I know Chris that Chris is not the biggest idea person most of the time, so I think it's someone who big on idea. We're sorry about the English, but yeah, that's basically what Banjo said. So he's basically saying that he doesn't think that it's only Chris controlling the account. I think he thinks that Chris and somebody else is controlling the account. And then I said, but not everyone. He is so he could have asked Cool Cyan to help him out on a crazy idea like this, and that's why in hint 6 he showed Cool Cyan, which what I meant by that is, like, if it was Chris Nato and somebody else, he would have proven that his partner in this like account wouldn't be that person, because a lot of people thought it was Cool Cyan before hint 6, so that's probably why he showed that. But yeah, that's what I basically said. And then after a little bit, I started talking to Wyatt. I showed him me and Banjo's text so it'd be quicker to explain what I thought. Wyatt doesn't fully believe that Chris is Gorilla. He basically says, maybe, I don't know, definitely a chance, but I don't know. And I said, but like, who else would it be that would edit like Gorilla, have thumbnails like Gorilla? And Wyatt says, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like Chris. And I said, I just don't see it. And somebody like that, me and Banjo also said this together, and it shows how me and Banjo said, like, it might be multiple people working on the account. I asked who he thinks it is, and he basically says Demetrius VR, maybe. And then I think he started like believing me that Chris might be Gorilla, because after a while of talking, he said, "You might be right, might be wrong. I don't know. I don't feel like guessing. I'm just gonna say you're 90% right, and I'm 10%. I don't know, maybe, and more 1%. I don't know, maybe, and you're 99% right." And then also talking about the hints that Chris Nato has been giving in his most recent short on Discord. He put below, "Does the editing seem familiar, perhaps to a creator named Gorilla?" So I feel like if it was bait, he wouldn't be completely milking it even on Discord, because it would mostly be on YouTube. But he could be milking it, or he is actually Gorilla. Then I started saying, but I also think that about this, since Chris did a video on Gorilla, it would help everyone think that it wouldn't be him as a distraction. And then why it says maybe Chris isn't the one editing, and that's why he doesn't like think the editing is like the same as Chris's, but that's what he says. And I say that could be possible. I just feel all the ropes tie to him as the answer. And then Wyatt starts leaving, and then with the rest of me and Banjo's talking, I said hold on. I talked to Banjo after me talking to Strawberry, and I told him about how Chris doing a video to make us think it's not him. He said true. And then after a little bit, he sent me a video of Viking VR, and it basically has Viking VR as it like deeps his voice for like a video about the OG caves or something, and I knew what he was going on to, but the voice doesn't seem the same as Gorilla's, and I mostly hear Chris's talking personality in the voice changer. So like the voice changer with Chris, I feel like is close to him. And then in this little clip right here, I'm gonna show a video of Chris just randomly talking in one of his newest videos on the basement update, and I also tried to find like the closest voice changer to like get it close to Gorillavrgt GT's voice with the voice changer on.
Mysterious monkeys have returned along with the dungeon maze. Juke your way through to find the solution and unlock the secret treasure. The store is stocked with all of your favorite adventures.
I am actually...
He basically watches it. He says, "Oh shoot," and I asked, "Am I wrong though?" And he says, "No, not at all." And I say, Chris Nato is 100% Gorilla. And then he also sends me the Gorilla's 5th hint. And then in the video, it has a interview with some dude interviewing Gorilla, and then he basically says like it sounds so similar to Chris Nato, and that's like all the proof that I have of Chris maybe being Gorilla. So yeah, I have high expectations that Gorilla is 100% Chris Nato. But yeah, you guys can definitely comment and ask me about any of my beliefs on how Chris Nato is gorilla. You guys can also comment who you think it is. And if you want, you can prove yourself in that comment of why you think it's that person. But me personally, I fully believe it is Chris Nato. By all the evidence I've been collecting over a whole day. I've only used a whole day of my, not even a whole day, it was a school day with that. So I basically had like maybe 4 or 5 hours to collect most of my stuff. But yeah, I completely think it's Chris Nato. But yeah, that's the end of this video, and hopefully at some point, maybe I can do a part 2 of when Gorilla posts out more video hints. But yeah, that's gonna be it. But yeah, like and subscribe. And bye everyone.